benvenuti, and welcome to another episode of Dimmi di Più. So today, by the way, before I forget, Buon Ferragosto. It's a holiday in Italy, marking like the summer and some celebration. I'll talk more about that later. But anyway, little disclaimer. This is a somewhat complicated recipe for Facebook Live, so bear with me. I think it'll become quite apparent that I am just a passionate home cook, not a chef. I only play one on Facebook. So let's get started. And we're going to, this is Dina's recipe. And I did invite Dina to come along and cook with me, but it's in the middle of the night for Dina, so she's not going to be here. And those of you who are watching, go ahead and write in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to know that. And then if you have any questions, just ring out. And now we're up to 4. So this is interesting. I don't know if you guys remember, a couple weeks ago I did eggplant grilled, and one of the questions from Mitzi was about do I use the salt and let them sit and soak in salt and be rinsed with water? Normally I do not do that, but today we're doing that because Dina does it. So if Dina does it, I'm doing it for the Parmigiana di Melanzane in Italian, or eggplant parmesan in English. So here we go. Couple of things. This came out of the garden. Look at how beautiful this is. I'm still not sure I want to cut into this baby. I just want to kiss it. And I already sliced a couple of the eggplants from the garden. These are the longer ones. They're not globe, they're the long ones. And then I put some salt and some water, and so that's working its magic. And if you could see my counter, you'd see the little juice leaching out.
Louise, a few comments already. Cindy from Palm Desert says hi.
Hi, Sissy in charge of art. And then my friend Virginia's watching. From Fresno. Hi, you guys. Thanks for watching. So this little eggplant, I did pick it up at the grocery store because I wanted to show you a globe eggplant, because more than likely this is what you guys are going to find in the grocery store when you go shopping. And this little guy didn't come from very far away. It's like a local farm. So let's peel off his little sticker. We don't need that. And then we're going to cut off the top. So earlier I practiced cutting eggplant with the mandolin. It does a great job, but it's really thin. So my mandolin doesn't make it thick enough. So I'm going to do it by hand with the knife. We're just going to cut it maybe a ½ inch thick. And I'm using a serrated knife. Can you see? Here, let me show. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. So yeah, you can use globe eggplant, and that's what you usually find at the grocery store. In my garden, I specifically planted some different varieties that are not available in the grocery store, and that would be the lungo, and then also this one that is called tonda, which is just round, the word for round. So we're gonna keep slicing away here. You only need about 2 large globe eggplants, or about a kilo, which is like a little more than a pound. So I already put a layer in the strainer with salt and water. Now I'm gonna do this one in there as well. And we'll just put y'all can't see what I'm doing. There we go. So I'm just gonna put another layer, and then we'll let this soak and leach. That sounds kind of gross, doesn't it? Leach for like 30 minutes. And while we're doing that, we'll be working on the sauce and some other things. So let's do that. And so one of the things I want to say about the eggplant parmesan, which is so cool, is because you don't want to do what I just did. We just want to sprinkle a little water on there.
This is a good time to say that Brenda from Tampa just joined us too.
Oh.
Brenda Lunsford.
Oh, I was going to say, I don't know Brenda, so it's one of your friends. So I have people helping me with the Facebook Live monitoring the comments. So they have some friends. So they have friends too. We all have friends. So now I'm going to do a little more salt on the second layer. There we go. Helps it leach out some of the eggplant juice, so when we fry it, that it doesn't do a lot of popping and things. So that's that. Let's just put this. Oh, two slow sneakers here. There we go. Voila. So we're gonna put the eggplant aside for a few minutes and let it drain. And normally I'm not really all that compulsive, but it kind of bugs me to have this juice on the counter, so I'm gonna wipe it off. So back to Ferragosta, which is a national holiday in Italy. It started like, oh my gosh, millennia ago in honor of Augusta, one of their, what do they call it, Caesars? Even anyway, and to celebrate summer and to celebrate the harvest. And what better thing to celebrate summer harvest than to have eggplant? In fact, Dina told me that was a good thing, and it was a very traditional thing to have in the summertime is eggplant parmesan. So now we're going to need to work on a sauce for this. A couple of things I want to talk about the sauce. This is called, it's in the label's in English, but in Italian it's a passata. Basically what it is, it's fresh tomatoes just kind of gone through one of those strainer thingies, which those of you who have watched the Bellini episodes, you saw me use this for Bellinis. This is my new favorite thing. Oh, here's the other thing. I have to tell you this. When I see this thing, all it reminds me of is like being in chef school and your Doug's hat. If you fuck up in chef school, they make you put this on your head and you're the dunce. Like, this is really a cool tool. So I'll show you why, another little tip that you can use. So I did happen to find this at the Italian market, the passata pomodori, which is just basically fresh tomatoes pureed. And this is what I recommend you using. And if you cannot find this sauce, then the other handy little trick would be to use a can of San Marzanos, and then you would put them in the chef dunce hat, because I can't remember the name of this.
Oh, well, we have a question from Julie in St. Louis. Is that dunce hat story for real? Okay. Well, it's very funny.
Maybe it's real somewhere.
It's very
I don't
funny.
know, because remember, I'm just pretending to be a chef on Facebook.
I would have bought that.
So the San Marzano tomatoes, these are awesome. And when you go to the grocery store, there'll be other cans that say San Marzano. If they're not from Italy, if they're not from Campania, they're not the real deal. Because the thing around the San Marzanos, which makes them so unique, is they're grown in the soil from the ash of Vesuvius, the volcano that buried Pompeii all those years ago. Anyway, this is another option. In fact, I did this earlier. Opened up this can, put it in the dunce hat, swirled around, wound up with exactly the amount of sauce that I needed to do the melanzane. Okay, so before we get started, the sauce gets a special little onion. So, I'm going to show you this nifty little trick on how to slice up an onion. So I learned this trick at a cooking class that I took in San Francisco once. It's like, there's not a whole lot I remember from that class other than it was fun and how to cut an onion. So what I'm going to do is just cut the top of the onion off. Voila, like so. And toss that aside. And then I'm going to cut it in half, but I'm going to cut it in half through its stem so that the stem stays intact. And this is a key part of this. There we go. Now I'm just going to go, now you can just peel off that outer layer, the stuff that's, like all nasty and we don't need. Like, there we go, just peel that right off. Well, maybe it's a little harder to peel off than I realized.
So while you're doing that, Cindy wants to know, did Jerry ever have to wear the dunce hat? And
No.
Mitzi says, hi, Lou.
Oh, Mitzi, you missed, talked about, remember a couple weeks ago when you had that question about the eggplant and putting salt and water on it and letting it rest for an hour? Well, I'm actually using part of that method tonight. I put salt on there, sprinkled with a little water to drain. It'll rest for 30 minutes. It doesn't need an hour. And the reason I'm doing it tonight is because Dina told me. And this is Dina's recipe, so I do what Dina tells me, generally. Not too many people will do what they tell me, but I do listen to Dina. So here's the little trick on the onion. And the other cool thing about this is, it's like my eyes aren't watering yet. Knock on wood. So the stem stays intact. And now I'm going to just do these little slices, about 1/4 of an inch, through the onion. Still avoiding the stem because I don't want to cut through the stem. I want to keep, because the stem can hold the onion in place. So we just cut, 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 cut. There we go. And now, watch how quick this is. Now we just slice, and look at that. All those little diced, perfect little squared onions ready to go into the pan. Oops. Make sure I don't lose my fingertips because that would be kind of gross. There we go. And then just toss that aside. And there's half our onion done, just like that. Maybe if you're compulsive, you can give it a few more little chops, break it up. Oh, I hear the timer going off. There we go. Stop. There. So I had to think ahead on this recipe. That's one of the other things I want to mention about this recipe. This is delicious. It's awesome. There's several steps to it. I'm going a little out of my comfort zone here with the Facebook Live because this is an interesting one to demonstrate in real time because there's a process to it and there's some time that you need to take into consideration with the sauce and with the eggplant resting. So there's that. We're going to do the other half. And again, I'll show you. We're just going to, see, no tears. That's the other cool thing about this method. Because those onions can be so nasty and brutal with the tears. So just cut through, getting close to the stem, but not quite to the stem. And of course, watching the fingertips, there we go, and here we go. Just like that. Look at those awesome little onions.
Is it a yellow or white onion?
Oh, great question.
Mitzi asked that question.
Yeah, great question, Mitzi. This one happens to be a yellow one. Good question, because they're a little sweeter, and I kind of feel the same about onions like I do about garlic. It can be a little overpowering, so I go with the sweeter, milder yellow onion. So let's give it a few little chops because I'm not ashamed to admit I'm a little compulsive. I want my little pieces tiny in the sauce. So there's that. Now this is going to go into the pan. This little pan that I bought in Italy. Love this little pan. Look at these cool little handles that you don't get caught on the stove and get tipped over. So we're going to turn the stove on. Well, maybe. There we go. And I kind of just look at the flame. You see how much it's touching the pan. And it's kind of about medium, kind of about at a 3 or 4. A little dribble of this awesome olive oil, which I've been talking a lot about lately. Pour just a dab, about a tablespoon or so into the pan. We're going to heat that up. And I'm going to lick it because I'm a cook. And I'll rinse my hands. There we go. So we'll wait for this to heat up a bit, and then we'll throw the onion in there and saute it for just a minute. Not even long enough for it to get translucent, just a wee minute. And then we'll pour in the tomato puree, the passata di pomodori in Italian. So it's so interesting because in the title, Parmigiana di Melanzane, Parmesan is generally Parmigiano because it's cheese and it's masculine, but since it's associated with melanzane, which is feminine, it turns into feminine. So you pronounce it Parmigiana instead of Parmigiano. Interesting, huh? So let's see. This is gonna smell so good. Oh yeah. Nice little sizzle. I don't know if you can pick that up on the mic, but it's a little sizzle. And I am actually gonna throw a little salt into the onions. Dina didn't tell me to do this, but I'm doing it anyway. We'll put salt in later, actually, after the sauce has been cooking. Oh, I think the smell of onion cooking, oh, it rates right up there with bread baking. And garlic also cooking smells so good. I just don't like the way it makes me smell when I eat it. So we're gonna give that a few more minutes. So that is our sauce that's going. We have the eggplant sitting and leaching out its juices. So, any other questions or let's see, what else can we talk about?
Mitzi says she wishes she was here to eat tonight's dinner.
I know, Mitzi, I wish you could smell it. That's the one thing. It was like, I wish you guys could smell what's going on in the kitchen and smell on Facebook, but we haven't figured out how to do that technology yet. But eventually, I know. So, what else do I want to tell you about melanzane and, oh, do you want to hear more about the Ferragosto? Oh, yeah, thank you. So I'm trying to remember to talk loud, but somebody who had to stand in the corner when she was in elementary school because I talked too much, now I'm always a little worried about being loud and talking too much because I've heard, turn it down. So that's like, I've worked it a lot in therapy. So these are getting just a little bit soft. I don't know if you can. Do you want to see what they look like? Let me bring this over. This is what they look like. Whoops. There they are. Okay.
Virginia wants to know, or no, John wants to know if you will ship to San Antonio.
No. You have to come to the Midwest to get that. Okay, so now here's the thing for the sauce that we're going to be using in the Parmesan eggplant, and then we just. Oops, that's ick. Better stick a spoon or a knife or something in there. There we go. And 500 grams. That's one of the things I really like. And I know that this is more than 500 grams. So it's like almost 700. So I'm going to pour about 200 in here. Oh, you know what? I tell you what. This is fun. I'm doing my own little taste here, or test and taste, because earlier today I made a dish of the eggplant parmesan. It's in the oven because I wanted you all to see it and hear us talk about it because it takes a while to bake. So I didn't think anybody wanted to hang around Facebook waiting for the parmesan to bake in the oven. So let's give this a little stir, mix up the onions. I'm going to turn that down a wee bit so that it's not exactly on low, but it's pretty low. Otherwise, we might get a burnt sauce. So I think I like the texture. I like the texture of the sand. What's going on? Oh, you have a question?
I just said I know about burnt sauces.
Oh, burnt
That happened to me
sauces,
last
yes.
week, so.
Yeah, we had our little group dinner party and had some burnt sauce, so I have to keep an eye on the sauce.
Good.
Yeah, so the texture of this, you know what, I'm gonna see what this tastes like. All right, you know what? I really like using the San Marzanos and putting them through the dunce hat. That tastes really good.
Okay.
So there's that. Now what we're gonna do is, even though it hasn't been exactly 30 minutes for the sake of everyone's attention span on Facebook Live, we're gonna rinse this off and then give it a little pat dry. Where am I gonna, oh, there it is. Put a little towel down, give it the little special spa treatment. There, we'll get that out of the way. We're not gonna use the dunce cap right now. So, give a little rinsey rinse to these guys, get the excess salt off. And then we're gonna pat them dry. Oh, and you'll notice that I sliced a little differently. I have some oblong pieces as well as round ones. Some of that has to do with the shape of my eggplant, and then also the shape of my casserole dish. So, there's that. We're gonna throw those in. There we go. I hear this. Ooh, we're gonna turn this down some more because it's bubbling.
Mitzi is asking what is that, and I think that she's talking about the dunce hat.
Yeah.
Hat.
I'm drawing up. It's like
mill.
it's like kind of like a food mill. It's a strainer thing. You can use it when you make jam. You can use it to rice the potato when you're making gnocchi. You can use it. It gets used a lot for tomato sauces and tomatoes. And in fact, that is like one of my favorite things because it's legit. I found that at a market in Palermo the last time I was in Italy. And so I go back and I pick up and buy these little kitchen utensils, things that I figured it has good Italian juju in there because, like a real Italian nonna, used that to make her tomato sauce. So I'm hoping all that good juju rubs off on my sauce.
Carla Whitelock Brocale says that she doesn't know the name of that thing either, but she has seen them in the farm store near the canning supplies in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, exactly. Near the canning supplies because you can use them for either making jams.
Yeah.
To get the seeds out and get the skins out on depending, and that's what we used it for bellinis, is to separate the peach skin from its juice. Okay, I'm getting distracted. You notice I'm not drinking tonight because this is a bit of a complicated recipe, and I didn't trust myself with being able to stay focused on the recipe and the tasks at hand if I had my wine. And then also, it's my special martini glass, and I didn't want it to get broken and knocked over with everything going on in the kitchen. So now we're gonna give this a little pat dry. Oh.
Rachel Tran just joined us and said hi.
Hi Rachel, that's my niece. Is Vera watching? Uh-oh. Oops. We won't use that one. Okay. I think that's enough eggplant. I can always slice another one if I need it. So I'm gonna come over to my little other station. Can you see me over here? So now what's gonna happen is each slice of the eggplant is gonna be dipped in egg into flour and then go into the pan for a little fry. So let's turn on. So one other thing, heads up. If the smoke alarm goes off, we're going to take care of it. There may or may not be firefighters involved in the solution, but who doesn't like to see a firefighter in a uniform taking control of the situation? So,
Rachel says Vera is playing in the water, beating the heat.
Oh.
And Virginia says no breaking martini glasses while cooking.
Exactly. And then again, my favorite olive oil from Sicily. We're going to pour this into the pan and get that heated. And one of the things is if you've, let's get that a little deeper and turn it. I think I have the solution for preventing the smoke alarm from going off, but just in case we have a plan B. There's that. All right, that's going to heat up. Oh. No, it's sticking my finger in that. Oh, I'm going to show you another little trick that Giovanni taught me. Good idea. Yeah. I'm not going to put my finger in there to pull that out. But so Giovanni taught me this trick to figure out if the oil is hot enough to start frying your food. Check this out. Maybe you all already know this, but I didn't know it. It was like rocket science to me. You take a toothpick, you drop it in the oil, and then notice if it starts moving around and bubbling around the toothpick. And then you know your oil is hot enough to start putting the food in. So while the oil is heating up, I'm going to put 3 eggs into this bowl. And this is good. I feel like this eggplant is getting a little bit of a spa treatment today. Got a little salt rub, then a little shower, and now it's going to get a little egg. Oh, whoa. Okay, so there's that.
Mitzi says how much she loves your your Facebook live shows.
Oh, thanks, Mitzi. I know, this is like, since we all can't be together cooking, this is like the next best thing. Maybe one of these days I'll get one of my Italian friends to join us on the Facebook Live and we can cook together that way. That would be fun too. So you can see I'm just giving a little whipping it up. Here we go. There's that. And then the second part of the special treatment is right into flour. And one of the things that I've noticed, I mean, some of you all have maybe noticed that, I think we talked about it before on Facebook Live. Eggplant is like a sponge, and it absorbs a lot of oil and a lot of flavor, whatever it gets in contact with. But one of the things about dipping it into the egg and then into the flour is that it doesn't soak up as much oil when it's being fried. And I'm like, yay, that's pretty cool. So we're just gonna do a little dip here. Oh wait, let's make sure. Where'd my toothpick go? Is it hot enough? Let's see.
You put it in the spoon rest, I think.
Oh, there it is. Oh, thank you. See, it's so good to have help. Yep, it's about ready. So let's pull that out because we don't need to eat fried toothpick.
Mitzi says that she ordered that olive oil too, and she loves it.
Oh, did you ask Missy if she found it at Sam's Deli in Fresno?
Okay, and Lori Rose says, hey there, I'm late to the Parmesan party, but love your blouse.
Oh, thanks, sis. What did you ask her what she's drinking? I know she's drinking.
I think you just did.
Oh yeah, that's probably true.
I hear you.
Oh yeah, you can hear me. It's not like I'm telling secrets on anybody. So this is what we're doing. Eggplant into the egg wash. Look at that. I sound redundant with the egg names. And then give it a little whirly-girly. Once the eggplant goes into the pan, it only is turned once. And it does get 40 minutes in the oven, so it's not like it has to be fully cooked when it gets fried, but more for around a little texture, a little crunchy on the coating. There we go. And then it makes my fingers all cakey. Whew, that's kind of messy. There we go. And, oh, I just realized, like the way I cut these, the shapes of these, it's a little harder to fit into the pan. There we go. There, there's that. And then let's do a quick rinse here. Let's see, what else can we discuss while we're talking about the melanzane? Oh, there we go. Give this a little stir, keep an eye on it.
Offline, I have a question about, is that how, what you're doing, is that how you keep the eggplant from being mushy?
Oh, yeah, no, I would think the mushiness comes from being overcooked.
Okay.
And then that's the texture of eggplant when it is actually cooked. So it'll be fun when we pull the eggplant out of the Parmesan out of the oven there to get an idea of the texture of whether or not it's mushy. Is that a texture you don't like? Who asked that question?
That was a text directly to me from privately about what you're doing. I don't know why, but that was what it was.
Oh, that's fun. So there's this, and I don't know if you can see that. Actually, it almost looks like, you know, I'm going to show you what this looks like with this batter, because I know there's some recipes that, can you see what we have going on here? Is that it? There we go. Awesome, it's in there. You see what that looks like? It's just a little golden brown and a little batter on there. I know some recipes call for a lot of breadcrumbs involved. No, we're not doing that. No.
Virginia asks, how do you keep it from absorbing so much olive oil?
The batter and the egg makes like a coating and kind of seals the eggplant and prevents it from getting too greasy. Yeah, I know. There, I'm gonna turn that up just a tad, just a hair. And then when it comes out of the pan, oh, you know what? I forgot to set the timer on the sauce. Oh, rats! How long do you, it needs 30 minutes. So how long do you guys think we've been doing the sauce? What time is it? Oh, I think the sauce has been going maybe a 15, 20 minutes by now. Okay, so in 10 minutes, let's remember to pull the sauce off, because in 10 minutes, what we're gonna do with the sauce is we're gonna add some more salt, and then we're gonna turn off the heat and throw in about 4 leaves of basil. and then allow that to sit while we finish the dish, and so that there's a little bit of a basil flavor infused in the sauce. And since I tasted it earlier, it was really quite good. Okay, so
Louise, there's a question from Marty. It seems that lots of places use breadcrumbs, not flour, when making this.
Yeah.
Is that a regional decision in Italy, or just how people do it in the U.S.?
I'm gonna guess it's how people do it in the U.S. I don't know. The melanzane that I've had in the eggplant parmesan in Italy is not as heavy as what you find in the U.S. And the other thing is, Dina does it this way, so I do it this way. And it is not as heavy. It just, there's just a little lightness, and it helps to pre-cook the eggplant, back to Virginia's question, without absorbing so much oil. Oh, this smells really good, you guys. Oh my gosh.
Does.
I'm telling you. So,
Laurie asks if there's any particular reason for the lengthwise cut versus the circular.
great question, Sister Laurie. It has to do with the eggplant that I grew in the garden. So I have the long ones. Plus I'm using a casserole dish that's oblong. So I thought it would be kind of fun to have some oblong cut eggplant. So no, there's no significance other than the shape of the eggplant and me anticipating what kind of a dish I was going to put it in. So there's that. Let's do this. Let's get these guys in. Oh, I'm just going to throw those in though. I'm going to throw these guys in. I feel like I'm missing something.
Tiara Borghese says, brava!
Who said that?
Tiara Borghese? Kiara Borghese?
From where?
We don't
I
know.
don't know.
Oh! So where are you from? Tell us! I think those of you who joined a few minutes after we started, we asked everybody to put in the chat where they're viewing, where they're from, so that, because that's just fun to know that we're like, how fun is that? We're having dinner and cooking with people from all over the place. Oh, I knew it was going to happen! Can you hear the fire alarm? The smoke alarm's going off. But I have the sous chef in charge of that. Oh, I forgot to turn on the vent. Oops. There we go. Thank you, Julie.
Mary Carpenter. Mary just said that she lives 2 doors down and it smells wonderful at her house.
Okay. So I think we're having a little bit of a crisis right now. Here, you can go. Okay, now it thinks about having a test. Okay, we haven't called the firefighters yet. I know, it's an annoying sound, and we're gonna have to. I'm just gonna turn this off. So, welcome to Facebook Live. You just never know what you're gonna get with live cooking shows. There. Nice job. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Yeah. So I forgot to turn the exhaust fan. So I'm going to stop frying right now because that noise is really annoying. But instead what I'm going to do is demo how to put together the dish, and then we're going to pull it out of the oven because I have one already done, ready to go.
You can turn off the vent, probably.
Okay, so I'm going to pull this out. Oh, look at this, you guys. Look how pretty that is. Okay, let's put that somewhere. Let's put that there. Finish up that. Okay, so,
Louise, go ahead and turn off the vent and you'll be able to cook more.
there.
There.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is what you do. We're going to pretend like the sauce has been cooking for 30 minutes. I don't even know how much time it is, but probably 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is now turn off the heat on the sauce, add about 4 leaves of basil, fresh basil, directly into the sauce so that that flavor gets infused. And then we're going to add a little salt and then taste to see how our seasoning is and whether or not it needs any more. There we go, little salt. Apparently tomatoes need a lot of salt. There's something about tomatoes. Okay, so, whoo! We didn't get to call the firefighters, but oh well. So let's let that sit and get its little yummy flavor in. There we go. And I'm going to do a quick taste on the sauce and give you the verdict on whether or not we want to use San Marzanos or passata, pomodori, which is tomatoes from anywhere in Italy. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh. There's a subtle difference in the tomato, and I think it has more to do with the San Marzanos versus in the tomatoes. There's like a sweetness to this tomato. And I know there isn't any sugar added because I checked the label. That's delish. Okay, so we're gonna pretend like we finished frying all the eggplant, and I will not subject you all to that sound anymore. What did I do with my dish? No, not that one. The one that I was gonna demo making. Oh, I know, but it's hidden. Yeah, it's hidden in the dishwasher. Voila! So, earlier I told you all I'm a home cook. You know what we all home cooks do. We hide the dishes in the dishwasher and things in the oven so it looks like everything's tidy. So when you put this dish together, you're gonna first put a little layer, that's gonna be hot, sort of. A little layer of tomato sauce in the bottom. Let's do that. So, where's this spoon? We come back in.
Okay, I think it's got
Yeah, oh yeah, you won't be in the camera, no worries. All right, so we're gonna put a little sauce in the bottom of the casserole pan. And you can see that the dish I used earlier today was round. This one's oblong, so something that goes in the oven. I would avoid using metal for this dish because of the tomato and the acidity reacting with the metal, so make sure that you're using something glass or ceramic. And then it would get a layer of the eggplant that was fried, and we're pretending like I absorbed the extra oil off of that. I'm using paper to drain it. Oh, look at this. Oh, this is so pretty. Oh, can you see? See how pretty that is? Love this. Then we're going to give it a little grated Parmigiano and pecorino. That's what Dina does, plus I love pecorino. So we're going to do a layer of the cheese on top. And then a little of each cheese here. And then it gets a little more sauce. Another layer of eggplant. If it wasn't burning in the pan, we would use that. And then no more than 3 layers of eggplant, sauce, and cheese, ending with a little bit of sauce on top, as you can see that I did here. And I am so excited about tasting this. So let's see, how hot is that? Ooh, hot.
Candy says it looks delicious.
Well, we're gonna let you know in about a minute. It does look delicious and it smells amazing. And since I know that the cheese is delicious and the sauce was delicious, I'm thinking that's gonna equal some yumminess here. And I have a couple of taste testers with us, so you all don't have to rely just on my opinion and my perspective on what I'm making, because I always think it's so good. And if it's not good, I don't let you know. Like, I had a friend who had a little disaster with something I tried a couple weeks ago, and it was embarrassing. So let's put those 2 plates out. Let's get a knife and knife. Oh, here's one. I'll give it a quick little rinse. There we go. And wipe that off. Oh, liking how that cuts through. You know what? I'm just gonna use a spoon. That is so tender. We're just gonna scoop up. Oh, sous chefs go first. Comment moderators. Oh. Oops, I think I need my fish spatula. Oops. That is hot. Is that good?
Beautiful.
I bet you need a fork.
Oh, the
And
smell.
Julie. What?
No, it's all good.
Too much?
I'm excited. No, a lot. It's good. Yeah.
All right. Oops. Let's put that there. The bottom of this ceramic, not ceramic. What is it? It's called. It's terracotta.
It's beautiful.
Oh, there we go. Oh, so steamy. Can you see it steaming? Look at that. And the sauce on the top, and the eggplant layers, and the cheese.
Yay.
There's for Julie, and then I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
have a little taste too. And so this video will be posted on YouTube, and I will have the recipe available on YouTube, translated into English, because I'm like that. I'll do that for y'all. Get it into English. Okay, wait. Alrighty. Verdict on the sauce. I'm really interested about the sauce because it's so simple and
Oh, it's
so
perfect. That's perfect.
yum. All right.
So delicious.
Bon appetito. Bon ferragosto. Enjoy the rest of your summer and all the wonderful vegetables that are available. And I'll see you guys next week when we make, I don't know, panzanella. Ciao for now.